everyone, I'm David Aragona, and welcome to the second edition this year of the 2021 TimeformUS Road to the Kentucky Derby Series. Last week we covered the Lecomte at the fairgrounds. Now we're on to Oaklawn Park, where they're running their first Derby prep of the season. That's the Smarty Jones, which will take place on their opening day card on Friday, going as the 8th race on that Friday card. Let's start by throwing up the field for this 1 mile event, which offers 10 points to the winner of the race. Now you see the 7-horse field here in the morning line odds. I will say right off the top, I'm not anticipating the race to be bet exactly the way that it's presented on the morning line. I'm anticipating that the number 7 Caddo River is going to be a heavy favorite in this race for reasons that we'll get to in a little bit. Going out for the powerful Brad Cox stable, there's some hype around this horse. The horse who's listed as the morning line favorite, the number 3 Cowan, he's got some merits in his own right. He's got stakes placings, including a second place finish in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint from last year. But Caddo River seems like the one that the spotlight is really on with regard to collecting Derby points in this race. Before we get into the major contenders, let's take a look at the TimeformUS pace projector. No characterization with regard to fast pace or slow pace, favoring horses in a specific running style, but you do see the number 7 Caddo River projected to be out on the front end here. There is some speed in this race, particularly likely to come from the number 5 Hardly Swayed and the number 6 Moonlight Strike, but based on the races that they ran last year as 2-year-olds, Caddo River just seems a little quicker than these horses in the early going, so it would be to his benefit if he's able to clear this field from his outside post position. And among the closers, there's really not too much to speak of in here, so I think it remains to be seen just how fast Caddo River has to go up front, and that'll determine how he's able to finish off this race. Let's get right into that horse, who I think is likely to be the favorite, the number 7 Caddo River. This Brad Cox trainee trying to make his 4th career start here, coming off a pretty impressive maiden victory last time at Churchill Downs, where he won by nearly 10 lengths. I'm instead going, though, to look at the replay of his race 2 back at Belmont in October, where he was second by 3/4 of a length to the highly regarded Speaker's Corner. While he's gotten a lot of accolades for that impressive victory at Churchill Downs, I thought he ran just as well, if not better, in this loss at Belmont Park 2 back, because the pace of this race was fast and contested, and he put away the other speeds coming to the quarter pole and was very game to continue battling onto the wire as some closers were chasing him down to the finish. Speaker's Corner, who got up to win this race, has not run back yet, but he was very highly touted last summer for Bill Mott. And the 3rd place finisher, Greatest Honor, has since come back and broken his maiden with some nice speed figures. He's one that should be seen on the Derby trail in the coming months. So Caddo River just seems like a horse that has really developed nicely. I don't anticipate the 2 turns being any kind of problem for him. He's by hard spun. The Dam Pangburn was a stakes winner going dirt routes. She won going as far as 9 furlongs on the dirt. So stamina is really not supposed to be an issue. I think it's just a matter of whether Furlong Giroux can get him to relax on the front end and see out the distance. That configuration at Oaklawn Park, where they have that short stretch going the 1 mile, that should help this horse trying to hold on. But to me, he just looks better than this field, and I'm not anticipating we get 5-2 on him. I think he's more likely to be the reverse of that, maybe closer to 2-5, but he does seem like way the horse to beat in this race. His main rival is that number 3 Cowan, who is that morning line favorite. He's coming off a good effort, getting back on dirt in the Springboard Mile last time. We'll take a look at that performance. He took some money in this race, coming out of that 2nd place finish in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. So the fact that he was able to stretch out to the mile on the dirt is a feather in his cap, because he did run well here. But as you'll see, he's no match for the powerful finish from Senor Buscador, who is now 2 for 2 in his career. And really, I thought this race was all about the winner, and those behind him were just kind of holding on. I'm not sure what was really behind Senor Buscador, who I do think is talented. The 3rd place finish from this race, Red and Wild, did come back and compete in the Lecomte at the fairgrounds last week. He finished a non-competitive 8th in that race, so that doesn't do too much to bolster the quality of that Springboard Mile. I think it remains to be seen if that 1:10 TimeformUS speed figure, which does compare favorably to this field, it remains to be seen if that's going to hold up. I'm a little skeptical that Cowan turns out to be a true Derby contender, but this 1-turn mile race might be okay for him. I'm just not sure he's quite as good as the likely favorite Caddo River. If we're going to look at some other bigger priced alternatives, the pickings are a little bit slim. We'll talk about a few of them. Martini Blue is drawn on the rail here. He's coming out of just 1 start, which he won in his debut at Hawthorne at the end of December. We'll take a look at the stretch run of that race. He certainly did it the right way. Once again, I'm not sure he's coming out of the strongest race. I really don't know what was behind him, but he did go off at 6-1 in this race and outran those odds to win pretty comfortably. He's under a bit of a drive here to the wire, gets a few cracks to the whip from his jockey as he pulls away. It's nice to see a horse handle 2 turns, a dirt route in his career debut. He certainly did it professionally, the son of McLean's music. But I imagine he's going to be the 3rd choice or so in this race because it feels like he's one that has just such obvious upside, making it just his 2nd career start here. And I'd be more inclined to look at some other horses that might offer better value. Even though there are a few others that are shorter on the morning line, I feel like Martini Blue could be that 3rd choice. Other horses to take a look at include the number 6 Moonlight Strike. He's one that I said earlier might be involved in the pace. He's more of a front-running type, and he did run pretty well last time out at Gulfstream Park. You see all those red color-coded fractions in the TimeformUS PPs, but also that red color-coded race rating box indicating that it was a somewhat speed-favoring track at Gulfstream. And while he's earned some speed figures in the low 90s, looking through the races that he's coming out of, I just don't think he was facing competition that was very good. The runner-up in his last race, who just lost to him by a head, Kiger, that horse came back in the Mucho Macho Man and was a non-threatening 9th, beaten a long way. So I just feel like Moonlight Strike is going to get a real class test here. I'm just not sure he's up to the challenge. If I was going to try to get a horse into the exotics underneath, I would look rather to another Gulfstream Park horse, Big Thorn. At least this horse ran a little better in the Mucho Macho Man last time. He was still 6th, beaten 13 lengths, but he got a very wide trip that day. He drifted into about the 5 path on the far turn, stayed on decently there. His prior starts, at least he showed that he could pass horses, pick up some pieces, come from off the pace, and I don't think we've seen too many horses make closing moves in this Smarty Jones, so perhaps he's one that can pass a few horses, potentially get into the trifecta, but I'm not going to complicate things too much as we look at my pick in this race. No surprise, I'm going with the number 7 Caddo River. I'm not really viewing this as a race that I want to bet because, like I said, when talking about this horse, I think he's going to be in odds-on territory, and that's just not the kind of horse that I'm going to heavily endorse, but he just looks too good for this field, and I expect him to take the next step on the Kentucky Derby Trail for the Brad Cox table and collect those 10 winning points. So that's it for the look at the Smarty Jones this week, and stay tuned for more Derby preps in the TimeformUS Road to the Derby series in coming weeks.